Oh, I feel like I've said this so many times. This is not a new statement from me. Anybody who knows me at all knows that I care deeply, I care profoundly, I hurt, and willing to admit to all of those things. And I will never, ever, ever, ever be silent when it comes to human rights. And I don't care who accuses me of being political. I don't believe I'm political. I believe I'm pro-human. And for me, that's what matters. What matters is that I am pro-human. And I would stand for any one of you. So days ago, I have to apologize because days ago I stayed silent at a time that I shouldn't have stayed silent, and I stayed silent during right after the shooting of Jacob Blake. And I stayed silent because I didn't know what to say. I couldn't figure out what to say. I didn't have any smart answers or any comebacks or any wisdom. I was just friggin' pissed. I was pissed. And that's not a very pretty sight on a minister. It's just not. And I thought to myself, okay, but we need to be uplifted. So let me talk about what I was going to talk about, which was gratitude and generosity. And then it came back again. It was like, oh, hell no. You and I, each one of us, we are in a community of that is known for being conscious. We cannot be conscious and be silent. We cannot be conscious and not do the necessary work. We are living in an extraordinary time. There's enough pain, fear, concern to go around for all of us. I believe that I can safely say that COVID has kicked our collective ass in so many different ways. Yes, some of you continue to work, and so for some of you, life hasn't changed too much, but for many it has. And even if it hasn't affected your income directly, because you're fortunate to work at home on the computer, it's very likely that it has I can safely say that the murder of George Floyd just sent us into a tailspin that we have not recovered from, and that's a good thing. Because I think in this moment, recovery from that would mean beginning to ignore it, and I don't want us to ignore it or go to sleep. I would also say that the gross and somewhat purposeful polarization of our country right now has left us either angry or confused. Anybody feeling angry besides me, feeling angry or confused? It's really hard. And I see your faces sometimes, and your faces, you come from looking a little depressed to confused to upset to worn out. Our bodies are on overdrive, trying to handle the stress. Life itself is stressful, but now on top of this, we have all of this additional stress. And even if you're not someone who takes it on maybe as personally as I do, you're still feeling it. You can't not feel it. And then in the middle of the country, out of nowhere, from a small incident that spiraled out of control, an individual somehow decided that he was so threatened that he'd shoot a man in the back 7 times. I have been trying for days to put myself in his position. I've been trying to get on the other side of that conversation. I have been trying to imagine who would I be and what would I be feeling that would cause me to do that. Gotta be honest. I haven't been able to get there. I haven't. I know being threatened. I've had that experience in my life. So I thought, okay, if I can imagine what I remember, maybe I could go there. Couldn't do it. So that prompted today. But for some of you, the trauma and the drama of trying to pay your bills, maybe you're getting unemployment, maybe you're not. We're busy trying to understand the new normal. And it was evidenced last week when many of us got together with another community and we were so hungry for each other. No one, except for minutes, kept the protocols. We were desperate to connect and be next to each other. I will decide for all of us that we are all divinely protected. So for much of this country, and maybe you, mental health is at an all-time high. Our mental health practitioners are working overtime. Crisis is everywhere. And we still don't know what the new normal is. And even though I'm talking about this, it's not like we shouldn't be talking about things that are uplifting, empowering, and positive, and that's lovely. But we have to be willing to do the down and dirty work to be able to embrace the rest of it. We have to. Sometimes I just want to plead with you in this way, that I want us to be the difference, to be the place of love, the cause for someone to feel seen, safe, and loved. I want us as a community, and right now that community connects us to Pennsylvania and Florida and California and Philly and Calgary and Boston and all the other places. I don't mean just CSL North Jersey. I mean, if you're on this call, you're part of a bigger network. I want us to be part of the difference, and I want to plead with you so often. I want to beg us to please do all, so we don't join the ranks of the unaware, of the ignorant, of the painful, of those accusing, those creating the polarization and the divide. The White Fragility Group, I don't think Giovanna's with us today, but I know Regina is here, and I think Mo is traveling to Indiana. But Regina, wherever you are, please unmute yourself for a moment and just say hello and just wave and let us see who you are.
Hi, everyone. It's good to be with you this morning. Thank you for these words of inspiration. I think, I know I'm desperate for them, so thank you. And thank you for the study of the book, the White Fragility book, first of many to come.
Yeah,
and many actions to take.
Yeah, thank you. Regina and Giovanna and Mo have been working so hard. The facilitators are working so hard. And we have some of them here. I know that Bill Sornowski's on one page. I see Elaine and I see Marcia. I don't know, I can't see both the screens right now. I know some of our other facilitators are here. And Donald, I see you, okay. And then in addition to the facilitators, there are many of you here that are taking the class. Thank God for you. Thank you. Thank you for doing the work. And I don't know what's coming next, but I do know more work is to come. And let me tell you how important this work is. I recently had an interesting encounter. I'm going to call it interesting because I'm going to be kind. And what happened was I was in the company of someone who was wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt. And someone else who was at the same gathering had such a reaction, and I had been in conversation with this person, and when I checked in with them, I said, "What's going on? Are you okay?" And their response to me was that they think that Black Lives Matter should be labeled as a terrorist group. I was so upset. Now, I don't know all of what's on the Black Lives Matter. I've looked at it, I've done some research, I've seen the website. That does not evoke that feeling in me. Are there some people that use it incorrectly? Probably, because it's all over the place. But I was so horrified by their reaction, I had to go get counsel for it. So I turned to a colleague who talked me through it, and I was reminded about what I teach, which is go back and ask the question, stay curious, stay in the conversation. So that's what I did. I went back and I said to this person, would you be willing to talk to me about this? Because I'd like to understand more. And they said yes. Now, we haven't conversed yet. But the takeaway I want, out of all the things I'm going to say today, the takeaway I want more than anything else is please learn to just stay in the conversation. Keep the conversation alive, because if the conversation is flowing, feelings are flowing, and we're raw, even if we're raw with each other. So when someone comments to you on Facebook or in your family or in any other public forum, you know who you are. Remember, you have the ability to choose your reaction, which puts you in your seat of power. Don't let someone else, and I'm going to say it this way, stupidity drag you down. Remember, when you react to someone's statement that is ignorant, you join forces with them and you become immediately disempowered. Remember the quote by Ken Keyes, whether you take offense or give offense, you are the offender and the offendee. You and I are more than that. We are more than that. You are better than your reaction. You are more significant than some silly commentary. You and I do not have the luxury right now of a comment. We don't have the luxury right now of being ignorant. We don't have the luxury of a everyone is watching everything, and our influence has great reach. Let's remember, let's go back to principle. There's only one. And all the power that exists everywhere simultaneously. So if you and I, in this moment, in this place, can bring peace, can bring forgiveness, can bring empowerment, then it affects the whole. But if we bring pissed offness and we bring anger and we bring judgment, it affects the whole. You and I collectively can lift the collective or be part of its demise. Your strength, although you might think so, is not your anger. Your strength is not your anger, although it might feel that way sometimes. Your power comes from being grounded in principle, in truth. Remember, when we object to something, we give power to the objection, and then we cause a greater divide. Peace is not willy-nilly. Peace is required. And I never said any of this would be easy. I have never said the spiritual path that leads to enlightenment and empowerment and freedom was ever going to be easy. Never said that. We are here to let the feelings come up, to learn to forgive when necessary, and to integrate them, because it moves us into greater wholeness. And you know what wholeness is? Wholeness is power. Wholeness is power. You are unstoppable when you are plugged into spirit. But allow someone to drag you into an argument and you will be pulled off your center. You are more than that. Continue to do what you're doing. You want to demonstrate? Demonstrate. You want to write letters? Write letters. You want to speak power to truth? Do so. But do it from power. When your strength, remember where your strength comes from. And I'm going to tell you something else. Start with healing your family relationships. Start with your mother, with your father, with your brother, with your sisters, with your exes. Start with the people that annoy you, that irritate you. Start there. Start there. Because when you start there, you increase your hold. You get that? Did everybody get that? When you start home, in your home base, you increase your wholeness. Everything that you and I see and touch is form. The reactions that we see in the world are all based in form. If we try to heal form from form, we're going to be ineffectual. We must heal form from cause. Does everybody remembering your basic science of mind principles? If you want to cause change and transformation, you have to be the cause. You have to generate possibility. We can't generate possibility while in reaction. Can't do it. Can't do it. Your power is cause. When you allow yourself to be pulled into effect, you are less powerful. When we do this as a society, the society becomes at the mercy of those with the most prominent voices, the biggest bandwidth on television, the most power, and might I say, the most guns. Yet, you and I have a power that's almost sneaky. Doesn't that make it sound ominous and fun? Prayer. And we're going to come back around to that. I am requesting that as a community, we be part of the solution. You don't have to agree with somebody and sing kumbaya in order to make a difference. There's a lot of people that I care about that I don't agree with. You don't make a difference when you make a difference when you're actively, lovingly listening, which does not cause further divide. When we're listening and we're remaining curious, there's no divide, there's flow and there's ease between you and the other. When you object, however, you empower the other. Now, you can object and not agree. You can not agree without objecting. That's what I meant to say. Because objecting is an energetic pushing back. And that pushing back is still an energetic way of empowering the opposition. When you find fault and place blame, you are empowering another. All that is going on right now, Black Lives Matter or not, Republican or Democrat, face mask or no face mask, every time you overreact from your emotions, you are adding to the divide. We are here to heal the divide. We must heal the divide within ourselves first, with our family, with our neighbors. Now, you might at some point in your strength yell. You might cuss. You might be angry. You might be frustrated. Okay, it's okay. Those are good, solid human emotions and human reactions. Let's not call them bad. I don't, because if I call them bad, I create more divide, don't I? So we're not going to do that. I'm just acknowledging them. When Jacob Blake happened, I was pissed. I was angry. And I went into a lot of white shame. I was embarrassed to be in my skin in that moment. I could barely face the people that I love, the people of color that I love. I could barely face you. So the difference between being angry and being strong is what you are doing, and doing it mindfully. Doing it mindfully. So you might be asking yourself, what is the solution? What can I do? Because we are doing beings. And that's how the White Fragility Book Club, or I keep calling it book club, the book study got started. And it might have been, I don't know if it was Marcy or Anita Pacheco. I remember one of you saying, but what can we do? And we said, we have to get educated. And there came the White Fragility Book Study. And it's been powerful. So wanting to do something is okay. Don't criticize yourself. Don't go into the whole philosophical, oh, I'm supposed to be, not do. You got to do both. Even being is a doing. Even that is so. If you want, and since today's talk was supposed to be about being generous, let me tell you how to be generous. Be generous in this way. Pray every day for individuals to not feel threatened, for people to feel safe, for wisdom. Pray from the foundation of who you are, for everyone and everything. Do your forgiveness work. Not for some people, for all people. And I've never met anyone yet that likes when I say that, but it must be for all people. If you are a practitioner of Ho'oponopono, get to it, get to it, get to it every day. Find similarities in another. Look for similarities, point them out, talk about them. Invite someone new into a conversation, to dinner, to lunch. Expand your relationships. Remain curious. Remain passionately curious. Ask questions. Ask somebody, wow, now take note of this. Gee, tell me more. Tell me more. I'd like to know more. Can you tell me why you feel that way? I'd love to understand you. Can we have a conversation about this? You see, there's a gentle way of inviting the conversation so that that person you want to talk to can feel safe. Again, stay in the conversation. Train your mind to cease being judgmental. Oh, you've heard that from me 1,000 times. Cease gossip, all of it. Cease triangulation. Cease all the habits that tear humans from each other. Pay attention to your bias. Won't be easy to see. It won't be easy to see. Those of us in the white fragility group, if you have studied me and my white supremacy, if you've done any of that reading, you'll realize it's not easy to see. It's quite complicated, actually. Heal your pain. Show up whole. Heal the inside. Don't let anybody dislodge you and cause you to be painfully resistant. Don't give your power away. Get educated about the subject of racism, either with us or somewhere else. A webinar, a class, start reading. I don't care where, but do it. Because you can't be passionate about something if you're not educated about it. You need the education to back you up. And God knows, in November when you vote, vote your values. I won't tell you how to vote, but I will say to you, vote your values. Remember, you can disagree without being disagreeable. You can vote for what you believe in is right without having to think everyone else is wrong. Let's not make another wrong. You can stand for human rights and kindness and compassion without calling names of people who you believe are opposed to what you are standing for. The world that we live in, and specifically this country that we live in, will never get to where we want it to be if we're fighting or polarized or divided against each other. You know, there's a movie, some of you might know it. If you have children, you'll know it. The movie was Monster Inc. Anybody know that movie? It's a horrible movie. And it was a movie about how there was a power company. And what they would do is they would send these monsters into closets and under beds of children at night, and they would scare the bejesus out of them. And then they would capture those screams in a device, and those screams would empower the city in the power plant. But there was one monster that was not very good at it, and there was one child just wouldn't be afraid, and he kept giggling at the monster, and he would keep laughing. And what happened was they began to learn that the laughter had more power than the fear. So they started sending in monsters that were comedians. And they'd send these monsters that were no longer really monsters into the closet, under the beds, and children laugh at night out loud at the laughter. And they found that every laugh was by far more powerful than any scream they had ever captured. The love of you, Sarah and Ava and Ray and Lee and David and Kat and Dawn Lee and Pat Dobbs and Jean Lee and Frank and Purple and Berna and all of you. Your love is what is required. Your love is what is required. We cannot lose ourselves in the drama. Dear God, please don't lose yourself in the drama. Do what you have to do. Take a stand where necessary. Stand for your brothers and your sisters, white or BIPOC. And if you don't know what BIPOC is, it means Black, Indigenous, people of color. Either stand with them. Yeah, pay attention on the highways. If someone's pulled over and you see something funky happening, yeah, stop your car. I even tell you to do that. Take a stand, pay attention, have your cell phone out if you see something funky happening. But stay plugged into love. Dear God, please stay plugged into love. It's the love that called you here today. Reach out to each other. And I see Tony Hamilton on the call. Tony, where are you? There you are, my friend. Tony, would you be willing to treat us out on this subject today?
So recognizing that there is one divine power, one divine presence, one divine creative intelligence. It is a light and life and love and beauty and harmony and wholeness and joy, and it is peace. It is everything that is good and wonderful. It is infinite and unlimited, and it is all powerful. It is all powerful, and it is creative. It contemplates itself and creates out of itself contemplation. I don't know how, but I see the manifestation of this truth in physical form. It contemplates itself and it creates. And it has created each one of us. It creates us, it sustains us, it maintains us, it informs us, it lives by means of each one of us, each and every one. And as there is only this one divine presence expressing in form, I know that there can only be love. There can only be perfection. There can only be beauty. There can only be wholeness as the truth. And anything that is unlike it may be a fact, but it is not the truth. It may be a fact, it may be so in the relative, but it is not so in the mind of God. It is not expressing as love in the mind of God. And so knowing this truth as my foundation, I know and understand that there is a divine power and presence that is available to me, that is informing me, that empowers me, that moves through me, that allows me to express and create and live. And I affirm that this power and presence that is always available to me is guiding me, is informing me, is saying yes to me. And so I understand that as I use the gift of choice that I have been given, I can choose what I want to express. I can choose what I want to experience. I can choose the life that I want to live. And I know that this divine power and presence says yes to me. And so I don't concern myself with what the current conditions are. I only concern myself with the conditions that I choose to bring forth into expression, to bring forth into my life, to bring forth as my experience. I know that this power and presence says yes to this, and that the underlying principle, the basis of it is love, is peace, is beauty. I know that this is what is right for me. This is what is so for me. This is where I feel good. This is where I feel safe. This is where I feel creative. When I am flowing in the love, when I know that all is well. And so what I affirm is, although there are conditions in this world that are not of my choosing, that are not what I want life to be, I affirm that within me, I have the power and the ability to contribute to the change. I have the power and the ability to have this divine presence say yes to my heart, say yes to my desires, say yes to my longing for peace, for freedom, for cooperation, for love, for clarity, for understanding, for beauty, for a shift in my experience, for a shift in my expression. And even though I am one small aspect of the one, there is only the one. And so I am deeply connected and deeply empowered to contribute to this expression and this experience that I call life. And so I affirm that the underlying principle of the one is love. It is creative self-expression. It is beauty. It is harmony. It is wholeness. And it is peace. I affirm it. I recognize it. I choose to participate in it and to be used to make it so. To be used to make it so. And so I simply affirm that each one has this clarity. Each one recognizes that they must contribute to what they want and not give any energy or power to what they don't want. And so I affirm the presence of God. I affirm the love of God. I recognize it at every turn. I look for it as reminders, knowing as my breath breathes and my heart beats and my eyes see, and I am awakened every day. I know that I am awakened to a place of love. I am awakened to a place of love. And so I just simply affirm that I am divinely guided, that moment by moment what I need is revealed to me, moment by moment what I need is provided for me, and if I see anything unlike God itself, I simply know it may be a fact, but it is not the truth, and the truth is on its way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I release this word into the law, knowing it is not me. God speaks the word through me, and God manifests it by means of each one of us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is.